Welcome to the Road End podcast. Stay tuned to hear all things LFC.
Hi everyone and welcome to Season 3 of the Road End podcast. Today I'm joined by Andy Cantwell. Andy is a lip sync specialist, which you'll find right across the social media platforms, and he's well known for his Martin Tyler lip sync. Thanks for joining today, Andy. How are you doing, mate?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
So let's get straight into things. I have no idea how you do it, first of all, but it's brilliant. How on earth did you find that you could do lip syncing so well?
Do you know what? I didn't know, to be honest, that I could. It was last year. Do you remember Liverpool were playing Southampton and we needed to win, and it was just Minamino scored to make it 1-1, and it was just something just clicked there where it was just like Martin Tyler was just kind of like, oh, it's 1-1, and it sounded so down, and I was thinking like, that's kind of odd, and I honestly didn't know that there was this whole sort of thing already about Martin Tyler and Liverpool. I'd kind of stayed away from a lot of that sort of stuff, so I didn't actually realize what I'd kind of stumbled onto. But and then I was literally in work just dossing, I should have actually been working, but I was I just made a little video, and I only put it on TikTok because no one knew me on TikTok. I had eight or 9 followers, and I was too self-conscious, to be honest, to actually have anyone that I know see it. So I was like, I'll just throw it on TikTok. No one I know is on TikTok. And then it just kind of, I checked back an hour later. It's like, oh, it's got a few likes. And then it just kept going. And then it got to, I don't know, 1 million odd views in a day or two. And I was just like, what? And then it just kind of, I was like, oh, maybe it was kind of weird because that one was just a happy accident. And then, but when I went to do the second one, which was just some Liverpool Spurs highlights and stuff like that, that was one that I was actually a bit sort of. I was waiting for people to be like, nah, mate, nah, you've lost it. Within the basic video, I was waiting for people to be like, nah, stop. But people just keep enjoying them, and I enjoy making them. But in terms of actually the act of doing it. This is how sad I am, right? So I'd be driving to work, and I might have a lot of Twitter's great for clips and stuff like that. And maybe for the last 10 minutes of my journey, I'll just have it. So it's hooked up to my Bluetooth in my car. I'll just have my phone on the passenger seat or whatever. So the audio is just playing for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll just see if I can make something kind of funny out of it. But it's kind of like I'd spend all that time just trying to get the mouth stuff, the actual lip syncing part right, and then when I go and record it, I'm always surprised to forget I have to actually act as well, and do all that. So it just I never really know when I go into them what it's going to be. I'll usually just give it a few goes, and I'll look back and say, oh yeah, that one's probably the best of the bunch, or something like that. But it's a lot of them are really sort of happy accidents where I'll pick that one, but I'm I don't know if it's not any good, and then I put out and it absolutely flies. People love it, so I'm like, oh, great. So yeah, it's all a bit surreal, to be honest, because it's just people just seem to really enjoy them, which is great. But it's a real weird accident how I kind of stumbled into it,
So you say that you weren't really on the Martin Tyler situation with Liverpool. I don't know how you weren't. He's an absolute. No, listen, every time we watch him and we bag worldies from 30 yards, and it's just and Trent Alexander scores, and you're thinking, you having a laugh.
I had noticed it myself, and that was the one that kind of made me do the vid, but I didn't know that there was a whole sort of thing online with a bunch of other people who also thought the same way, because I tended to not really be online too much, so I just wasn't aware that this was going on, but boy, do I see it now.
Well, so I was going to ask you, obviously, why you started it, but Martin Tyler seems to be that one for you then. So what other ones are you doing on TikTok?
I would do, I've done a few Peter Drury, which is kind of the opposite end, which is just
definitely
so over the top sort of stuff. which is great as well. I love Drury, and a few like Jonathan Pierce or Sam Matterface. I kind of actually prefer the ones because like a lot of people are always saying to me like, oh, do the Aguero Martin Tyler one, you know, and I'm kind of like I find it a lot harder to do them when the commentary is already mad, you know, like I think there's something funny in like a really underwhelming commentary. So that's like I did one there recently, which was just like a real niche video. It was like Salford versus Colchester's I follow commentary and stuff because he was just so down. And I just find any of those commentaries where they just seem down, I just think is funny, you know. So I kind of struggle, to be fair, on the big like, oh my god, I want to, you know, all this, like I just because that's already mad, so I don't feel like I'm adding anything to it, you know what I mean? But Drury be one. I've done a few of those. The probably one of my favorite ones that I've done would be the Jonathan Pierce reacting to Cantona and the fan, because it's just completely unhinged. That's probably one actually where he is going mad that I actually thought was actually all right, but that's just completely unhinged bit of commentary. Like, and it was probably the technically the hardest one because it's a full 45-50 seconds of like no cuts trying to get it all right. So you kind of, there'd be once or twice where I'd get maybe 30 seconds and I'd mess it up and I'd be like, shite, and then I go back and, you know, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm fairly open, to be honest, to doing whatever is funny, really. Like I've been teasing the idea of even doing other sports and stuff like that. Like there was a huge darts one a couple of months ago there. But I don't know. I'm kind of keeping it open. If I see something funny, then I tend to give it a try, you know.
Now, when you're watching the football, and so obviously I'm watching it to watch the game. Do you have half an eye on, or when I say half an eye, half an ear on? What
I'd be
is
lying
going
if
on?
I said I didn't.
Yeah, so
like,
you struggle to stay like focused on the match.
No, it's actually really easy in the sense that like it doesn't necessarily, bad commentary doesn't necessarily bother me as much as it bothers a lot of people who like the videos. Like I'm busy enjoying the match anyway, so it's kind of like it's more of an afterthought when I go back and watch the replay, and then I realize, oh, Jay-Z's a bit down there. But to be fair, now there's a few where I'm not quite celebrating because I think, oh, this must be offside or something at this level of reaction. But no, like I kind of like it wouldn't bother me too much, but it's only kind of when I go back and I'll look and be like, okay, that sounds a bit like a funeral there. You know? but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have an eye on like when's Liverpool playing at 4:30 on a Sunday, because there's a chance that there be something going on there. But then again, like I didn't do the 7-0 because, and as much as I thought, like I was like, oh great, like there's going to be some good stuff there. I actually thought by his standards he was actually all right for that one. And I've definitely been guilty in the past of like forcing one or two that didn't quite work, you know, and I'm kind of just, if there's something good there, I'll do it. But I felt like the 7-0, as amazing as the result was, I thought by his standards, it was actually okay, you know, so it's not just a case, like I definitely went through a phase of just doing it whenever we were playing and trying to sort of make it work. Whereas now I kind of think, I don't want to overkill it as well, you know?
Yeah, the Gary Neville one from that game would be good. Jesus. He was traumatized, wasn't he?
I know. Having said that, like I'm sure I definitely will do it in the future when I feel when the mood strikes. But yeah, no, for now I think I'm all right leaving that one.
Yeah, so obviously I had a look at your TikTok profile before, and you say you went from 8 to 9 followers, 150,000 followers with over 4 million likes.
Yeah,
bet you weren't expecting that.
No. It's weird how much you kind of like, I don't want to say like get used to it, but like you kind of it just becomes normal after a while, you know. Like I'd probably almost be like least interactive with people on TikTok, even though TikTok's got the biggest following. I'm way more interactive on like Twitter or Instagram or something like that, because like TikTok's great, but like 9 times out of 10, like it's a bit, I don't know, like you know, the accounts that might interact with you is like, Messi is GOAT, or it's usually some sort of football player is GOAT, or someone, some play on it, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like real people. Whereas Instagram and Twitter or whatever, you just kind of like, I'm far more likely to respond to a direct message on Instagram than I would be on TikTok, because I'm kind of like, this is a real genuine person here. But yeah, it's mad. It just keeps kind of going up, which is great. I'm pretty sure my account's going to be pulled at some stage, because I've got 2 strikes for copyright against me, and I don't know where I saw somewhere that it's like 3 and you're out. So there was one, I can't remember which ones now. There was just a random Milan commentary that got pulled, and then some other one as well. So I have a feeling if I get pulled again that'll be it. I'll have to start again. So
need to get a backup going.
Yeah, I know. So I'm not getting too attached to it at the minute. And with Twitter as well, I woke up because when Martin Keown was talking about Martin Tyler being anti-Arsenal, which was insane, by the way, because he was so down for those Brighton goals. It was crazy. But I got loads of tags and stuff off the back of that, and then I just woke up the next day. It's like, your account has been locked for the Lucas Moura "What's He Done" video. It's just gone. I was like, maybe I should play it cool for a week or two, But yeah, it's all just a bit mad. Like it's hard to really put into words why they've gotten so big and things like that. But it's just fun. It's just,
that's all it is, isn't it?
Really. Yeah.
So you're obviously a Liverpool fan. Let's talk a little bit about Liverpool now. What's your earliest memory, or let's say your favourite memory as a Liverpool fan? Because obviously there's 2 different things, isn't there?
Well, my earliest memory is actually because I got into Liverpool because my auntie and my cousins they're a bit older than me and my brother, and they were huge into Liverpool. So we just kind of got swept. Like when I was about maybe 6 or 7, and I just remember one of my first memories is when we were playing. Was it Blackburn? When Blackburn were going for the title against United, and I remember like when Liverpool scored, because we needed Blackburn or we thought we needed Blackburn to win, and when Liverpool scored, I remember my auntie being like, I don't know if I can curse on this, but she was like,
go on.
She was like, shite. And I remember thinking like, what? But we scored, and I didn't understand what that meant in terms of rivalry and all this sort of stuff. So I remember that being like a real standout moment. Favorite one, I think maybe Istanbul, because that was just from the time I've been supporting them from about 94 onwards. That was the biggest one, the biggest sort of win that we had, and it just seemed like to concede after. I know we all know how it went, but to concede after like 30 seconds and then you're 3-0 down at halftime, I was like, I can't believe this is how this is going. And just, I remember I was 20, I was in my mate's house, and just even people who didn't really watch football by the end were all screaming as if they were all Liverpool fans as well. And just there's so many moments in that match where you're just like, how the Dijk save against Shevchenko, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, there's something more going on here. I don't know what it is, but there's something to this match, and it just seemed really special. Like
that was the moment we won it, I think.
Yeah, I think so. That was
when you just have them defining moments in games. When he saves that, he's got no right ever to save that, and no other keeper in the world.
He's like,
he's like, I'm the man. I am the man. I have like no fucking clue how I've saved it.
How the hell did I do that? But out of interest, what would yours be? What would your sort of earliest or favourite memory that stands out to you be?
My favourite memory is being, well, obviously you got the Istanbul and stuff, but the road to Istanbul for me. The game when Gerrard hit that ball top corner against far corner against Olympiacos. I'm in the upper Anfield Road behind that. And when Mella touches that down, it's as though time stopped. It was when he hit the ball in the back of the net, and it just went absolutely crazy. The ground.
Did you say you were at that game?
Yeah, I was. I'm behind that goal as it's going in.
Unbelievable.
So when that hits the net, honestly. I can still remember everything. And it was one of them nights where you thought, this could happen. This could happen. And I think the belief sort of set in from that because, I mean, bloody hell. Only that man could have done that, couldn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a few, like, my favorite kind of goal is like, it's like a goal that makes you laugh. You know what I mean? Where you're like, and not necessarily, I mean, sometimes it's funny, like, for example, when, like, before Real completely thrashed us this year, but like when Nunes scores that flick to make it 1-0, and then Salah, Courtois, like, it bounces off him. It's some routine thing, and Salah just pops it in. I was just like, you know, those sort of goals where you're just like, you just can't stop laughing, you know. And I remember like that Gerrard goal was almost like that, where you're just like, I can't believe what's after happening here. Like,
yeah, there's that night, and obviously what followed at the Chelsea night when Garcia's goal. That's the funny one for me. When people dress up as a ghost.
Your great Halloween costume idea, like, it's the ghost for the football.
It's brilliant. So, okay, so the current team then, it's been a disappointing, frustrating season for me. That's just my overview of it. What have you made of this season? And
just mad. It's just been mad. Like, there's glimpses, you know. I find myself wondering. Like, I've started doing a show on YouTube, and I was only saying it there on the last episode. Like, I just find it weird, or like, was that Fulham game like a real sliding doors moment?
Yeah.
I just wonder if we'd have got the win there, a little bit of confidence into the next game, and it just knocks on and knocks on. I just wonder, I just find myself all season just wondering, what if we didn't draw that first game? And I know there's probably much bigger problems than just drawing one game and it affecting us for the season, I know. But it's like there's been times in the season where I've thought, yes, okay, we're back now. And then you lose the next one. And then so about halfway through, you just stop kind of thinking, oh, we're back. And so you're in a weird sort of limbo of like, I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to be too down about it. You know, so it just seemed surreal. Like, it seemed like one of those games where, like, it feels like we're going to concede 3 every game almost. But it feels like we might score 3 or 4 as well. Like, it's been challenging, I'd say. Alisson has still been great, and Salah's still been great. And yeah, it's hard to make. Like, I'm pretty happy that we finished 5th, considering where we were. I didn't expect that, and I actually kind of thought, I was like, oh, I don't want Europa League. Like, I was like, if we don't finish 4th, I want to finish 8th, which is like real loser talk. But then I think when I heard that the Europa League final is in Dublin, I kind of thought, okay, well, maybe I can get on board with this now.
Whereabouts are you?
Well, I actually live in Wicklow, just the county below Dublin. But I grew up in Dublin. I was there for 30 years. But yeah, if they're playing in Dublin, that's certainly a nice icing on the cake. Anyway, I say if we can get to the final, and it'd be great if we do, and it'd be great if we can beat Sevilla at the final as well. But that's just in an ideal world. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't win this Europa League, because hopefully they do win the Europa League, because they'll be in this Champions League.
Yeah,
I don't want them in that latter stages.
Some weird chemistry they've got with this competition. I don't understand.
It's not. Okay, so what do you think we can improve on next season? Then obviously there's a lot to improve on, and we could dissect this for 3 hours. However, what do you think we should be looking at doing?
I mean, midfield obviously is one. Like, I'm far more optimistic than I was 2 months ago at our midfield options, only because whether he has Trent in there in actual midfield position, or if he keeps him right back and drifting into the midfield, that's definitely helped. I think Bajcetic, when he's back, will be a huge help. Curtis Jones is doing quite well as well. And then, like, they're not the answer at all, but I think we've gone from, having absolutely nothing to, like, okay, well, there's something here, and we just need a few extra sort of, a couple of extra recruitments. Defense, I'm a bit worried about, to be honest. and it's kind of like, yeah, on paper, we have one of the best defenses in the league, but there's something not right there. I don't know if it's Van Dijk and that's filtering through. Like, he's a bit more unsure, so everyone else is a bit more. But like, just the space that we're, and I was going to say, like, the space that we're conceding is a worry. But we've always kind of given up a bit of space, because we pushed up so high. But it just seems like if a team gets the right ball in, they're just one-on-one with the keeper, and we're not quite as equipped to deal with it. So it's hard to say. I mean, a few midfielders, a few defenders. Like, I don't even know. I don't know how I feel about Mount. I'm glad to see him linked with United, to be honest.
Me too.
Something doesn't sit. He doesn't seem like a Liverpool player to me. Now, if he does join and comes out absolutely, flying, maybe I'll change my tune. But it just doesn't seem. I was saying only on the show there last week, like, he just looks like a Chelsea player. He sounds like a Chelsea player. He plays like a Chelsea player. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But if we I'm happy to get McAllister if we can get him. I think some of the prices though are insane. That Cody Gakpo looks an absolute steal now at 37 million when you consider the prices these players are going for. But I honestly don't know. I have trust that Klopp knows what he's doing still, obviously. But so I'm confident whoever we get in he'll be able to work with and, improve them. Like, he pretty much improves everyone who joins. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is, really. What do you think? What's the answer?
I don't know, because a lot of it's just up in the air at the moment for me, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the Trent thing. I'd really like to know what the plan is for him. And I know it's not our position as a fan to know what's going on. But I'd like to know, going forward, are we going to use him as a defensive mid / whatever that position we want to call is, quarterback, whatever they want. It's mad. And are we going to get a right back? And I think we'll find that out in the next few weeks, to be honest, because if that is the plan of moving him into midfield, a right back in as soon as possible is a must.
I think so, yeah. And I'd probably like a fairly more defensive right back. Yeah, if he's going to be like, I do think, like, I think we should almost be building the team around Trent. You know what I mean? Like, whatever his strengths are, put him there, and then have everything sorted around him. But yeah, I'd like to know myself what's going on with that role. But yeah, I think it'd be good anyway to have an extra right back or Definitely. Like a backup just for competition, even, like, because he's just kind of all we have at the minute. But I'm fairly optimistic. I don't know why, but I'm after this season. But I'm fairly optimistic now.
I've mentioned a couple of times to various people now that I think this is probably Jurgen's biggest transfer window since he's been here, and he's got to get it right. I fully believe he will, but he has got to get it right, and the FSG have to back him, because if they only half-arse back him this summer, we could be in a terrible situation this time next year.
Yeah, it's a real sort of
make or break, innit?
Yeah, it's a make or break summer, really. Like, I think it'll determine our, how we are for the next 4 or 5 years, even because you get that bit of investment and you spend it well and all that. You get back in you get back challenging for top. You get back in the Champions League. It just has such a knock-on effect financially and for players you can attract. And, I don't think Klopp alone is enough now. Like, when he first started, people wanted to work, wanted to play for Klopp. And that almost, while we weren't in Champions League at the time, that was almost enough to sort of have people because he was such an exciting manager. He still is, obviously. But I just don't think that's enough anymore, And but I have to say as well, like, he pretty much gets it right. Like, whenever we do sign someone, barring maybe one or two, he's pretty much got a very good track record, like better than anyone that I've seen, to be honest. So that's why I'm not stressed too much. I do want us to get a good few new players in, because I think we definitely need it. But the who and all that, I'm not too concerned about, just because I would trust him. I trust that he would get the best out of them, So And I think next season Nunez will kick on. I think Gakpo will kick on even more. Diaz hopefully will stay fit and get a bit of form back as well. Salah's always great, So there's the pieces are still all there. Like it's just putting them together,
Right. So let's move on to the talking points from this season and next. So, player of the season for you,
Alisson.
I'm with you.
I might be biased because I absolutely love Alisson to bits. I think we all do, but he's just one who just he's one of the only goalkeepers that we've had that I find myself celebrating.
Save.
Like it's a goal. How many one-on-ones and you're just waiting for it to go in, because to be fair with people like Mignolet, Karius, even Reina to an extent, you kind of to be one-on-one and you're just kind of waiting for it to go in almost. So you don't have the confidence that they're going to do it. Whereas with Alisson, you're kind of like when he makes those saves, you just I celebrate like it's a goal. Just come on. And I don't do that for anyone else. And he's still, as bad as we've been, he's been just a rock. So yeah,
we'd be far worse off without him.
Oh man, I shudder to think where we'd be without him.
Best moment of the season.
Tricky one. I think, even though it was kind of short-lived, I think Salah's goal against Man City, because again that was another classic Alisson kick out. The way Salah turns on Cancelo, was it,
Cancelo?
And it was just such a Liverpool goal, and it was such a big goal. He just missed a similar chance 10 minutes before, and he just lost that in 1-0, and that was the first, but not the last time where I was like, "Oh, this is us." Now. And then about 2 weeks later, I'm like, "Oh." But yeah, that'll be it for me.
Biggest disappointment for this season?
Results, you mean?
Anything in general. For me, it's the whole performance of 75% of it, but
yeah, I know. Sum it up. I think the Real game was a disappointment because they just have our number. Every time we play them, they just have our number, and I really wanted to beat them bad. And when we went 2 up so early with 2 mental goals, Nunez with a mad flick and Courtois, who was the hero of the final, to just gift Salah a goal. That was one where I was like, and then within 30 minutes, the smile was very much wiped off my face, and it was just, you just knew it was coming. Then after, we have a terrible habit this year of conceding right after halftime as well, which is, I'd like to stop as well. But that was a real kind of it's okay, well, do we still have an out? We always show up in Europe. We still have a good chance in Europe. And then I was just there's really nothing now. That was because that was the real there's nothing to play for now this season.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
If you could sign anyone for this current Liverpool side, who would it be and why?
See, I don't think I'd go for the Mbappes and things like that, because whenever I see him linked, or I see Neymar linked last week, I was kind of a bit no.
Yeah.
I don't really think their attitude will gel well with what we've got going on. One of the things I love about the club so much is how close the team are, and how there doesn't really seem to be that sort of, even Salah, who's right up there, doesn't seem to be that way. And I don't want, players like that. I would actually, it may not be the most glamorous one, but I would love a signing like Rice. Bellingham is, is a miss, but I think someone like Rice or someone along those lines would be such a good buy for us. It's just all about the price, really. But I don't know what I would. Well, it isn't my money, so I'll give them whatever they want. But I think Rice, Bellingham, I would take him if he's going.
Just take him.
Yeah, just take him. I think that's. I think I just really want to sort out the midfield, and when I think of who I know would be good, I think with Klopp's record of improving players further, I think Rice would be a great one. Still slightly bitter about the fact that he declared for England and not Ireland. But like, to be fair, he's English, so like I can't be too annoyed with him about that. Yeah, someone like him. It's hard. I'm sure I'll be kicking myself now in about 10 minutes when I think I can't believe I didn't say this player. Someone like that, I think, though.
That's
how about you? Out of interest, who would you have?
For me, Barella from Inter.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He's my one. I just feel like he's got, and I'm with you on Rice, by the way. He'd be a great signing. But just Barella, every time I watch Inter, I think, oh, what a player he is. Like, he's got everything from going forward to getting back. He's so tenacious.
And he's fairly young, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's just lower than mid-20s, something like that, 24. He's just, he looks like someone that you could take, well, not me, but someone that Klopp could take to the next level and be even better than what he is. And things like that excite me. And like you said with Rice, that'd be a cracker.
I think so. And he knows the Premier League as well. Slight outside shout for, I can't actually pronounce his full name, Kvaradona. The Napoli. Georgian lad, is he from Georgia? He's playing for Napoli. Unbelievable. I'm so surprised that I'm not hearing more about players like scrambling to try and sign, or clubs scrambling to try and sign this guy, because he just looks phenomenal.
I think it's the stadium announcers saying, listen, stay away from him, because I have no idea how to say that name.
Don't give me that.
George Sefton at Anfield, especially, because when he done the Napoli game, he was like, really?
Number 11.
Yeah. Right, Andy, let's call it a pod there, mate.
Right, so.
I appreciate your time. I hope you've had a good time on the pod.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No, it's great. It's great to have you on, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep providing us entertainment with Martin Tyler, because listening to him is not good entertainment, but watching your clips is, mate.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
Cheers,
keep doing your thing, and let's catch up soon, mate.
Will do. Cheers, Tom.
Thanks to everyone for listening in to today's podcast, and thank you to our amazing guests. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Don't forget to follow us on social media, twitter.com/The Road End Pod, and on Instagram /The Road End Pod.